Hello, this is Angie with thecountryshootcottage.net, and I'm here today with craftyhangouts.com. And this hangout is sponsored by onlinelabels.com, where you can pick up these great stickable labels and make a gift in a jar. So today I'm going to make a cinnamon applesauce ornament kit in a jar. So everything you need to make cinnamon applesauce ornaments with kids, or adults might like them as well, is in this jar, including the ribbon to hang it by, the cookie cutters to cut it with, and the recipe to make them is on the front with a label. So I'm going to show you how to make this today, and it's really super quick. All right, so we're going to start with a mason jar. It needs to be the quart size with a wide mouth, and I like the ones that have at least one surface that doesn't have any writing on it, because we're going to start with this large label. So the large label you can get from onlinelabels.com, and it is an OL 5100, and I got the white matte. And I'm going to have a free printable on the countryshootcottage.net with, it just says cinnamon applesauce ornament kit, and then it has the recipe below and instructions for how they're going to make their own. So we're just going to peel one of those off and start by putting that on the jar. I'm just centering it up, getting it in the jar, smoothing it out. So step one was pretty easy, right? Now let's add the ingredients to the inside. So the first ingredient on our list is store-bought applesauce. So you can buy this great applesauce in pouches. The box looks like this. 2 pouches will about do the recipe that I printed. So 2 of these pouches go into the jar. The next ingredient is cinnamon, because they're cinnamon applesauce ornaments, right? So a large container of cinnamon will do 2 of these ornament kits. So I just put it in a plastic bag and we'll roll it up, put it right in the jar. Now the next ingredient is tacky glue or school glue. I actually have this small container of Aleene's tacky glue, and I'm just going to put that in. All right, and then they're going to need a few things to help make the kit in the jar. So a straw is used to poke a hole in the ornaments before you bake them, and the entire straw will not fit into the kit, so I just cut it in half. Just pop those down in the jar. And then they need ribbon and cookie cutters, which we're going to put on the outside. So next we're going to put our lid on. So the lid on my first example, I did a printable label from Online Labels, and to do a wide mouth jar, you need an OL 375, and that's like a 3 1/3 inch circle. And I'll have a printable on countryshootcottage.net if you want it, and just as a gift for you in red. It's a red label with green writing. If you don't like the printable version, I'm going to do another version real quick. So just a plain label from Online Labels. You can peel and stick that to the top of the jar. So if you're doing the printable version, this is all, right? This is the instructions. But if you want something a little more special, and you have a stamp, like a Christmas theme stamp, this one says Joy, so I could use it. I've actually loaded up the stamper with a Christmas stamp, and I can just stamp the center. So still just as quick, but if you want just a little extra special touch and have some stamps at home, you can do that as well with the labels. All right, so the lid's on with our decoration. All right, so they're going to need cookie cutters. We have a few here. This can be bought for about $1 at any dollar store, or I was lucky enough to find a whole batch at a yard sale for really cheap, and I just clean them up and they're ready to get some gifts. And they're going to need ribbon once they get their ornaments done. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the ribbon to both decorate the jar and then they can use it later. So we'll start. This is the front, has the recipe, right? And we're just going to start wrapping it around. And we're going to go around, around, and around. So they have plenty of ribbon, and they start making their own cinnamon applesauce ornaments. If you've never made cinnamon applesauce ornaments, it's sort of like a really fragrant, spicy dough. And then you make them, cut them out with cookie cutters. Again, use the straw to poke a hole. And then you bake them in a very low temperature oven. And then you let them sit for 24 to 48 hours. And then you can put a ribbon on them and hang them on your tree. They'll actually last for years. I've had some of them for years and years that my kids have helped to make. They're really, every single year, they make my house really fragrant and amazing when they're hanging on the tree. So I would highly recommend it as a craft. Even if you don't make my kit, definitely get the recipe so that you can make them with your own kids. It's just a really, really fun activity. So this is some glittery ribbon, and I'm not really sure where it came from. I might have to look that up and put the source on the countrychicottage.net. Any ribbon will do. I really think looks pretty in the jar. So I wrapped it around and around and around, and then tied a bow on the side. So now when they undo this package and they unwind all that ribbon that's all the way around the jar, it will be used for their cinnamon ornaments. So the secret I learned to tie on, I wanted to tie on 2 cookie cutters, and it was a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I put 1 cookie cutter on this end of the ribbon. These are the tie ends. And then on the other end, put the other cookie cutter and then tie a knot. Tried to make it look pretty. This was the only way. So now I have some Applesauce Ornament Kit with 2 cookie cutters for them to use when they're making it. And I'm just going to cut off the excess I have. But I don't have much, so I had a big spool of ribbon, and this is all I have left. All right, so you can make these for, say, your neighbors that have kids, or you would make a good teacher gift for a class, because you can make this with your class. Just anyone on your Christmas list, consider giving them a cinnamon applesauce ornament kit, and they can make these with their kids. And it would be a great present for earlier in the year, so they can make it with their kids before the season ends. Thank you for joining me today, and you can head to craftyhangouts.com all next week and see great handmade gifts that use labels. I have a couple of gifts in a jar going up, so don't miss those. And then also, do not miss onlinelabels.com. We can get fabulous labels that you can use printable versions on. And they have tons and tons of labels. If these sizes aren't going to work for the project you're thinking about, then just go and surf their site, and I'm sure they have it. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll be back again in a week or 2 with some more great craft videos. Thanks. Bye.